Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Students, are you listening me? Please reply in the chat box so that I can understand that you are hearing me clearly so that I can start my lecture. Kindly reply soon. Students, are you hearing me? Mariam, Khadija, are you listening me? Please reply in the chat box. Kindly students reply in the chat box so that I can understand whether you are hearing me clearly or not so that I can start my lecture. Hurry up, reply. I am waiting for your reply. Okay, very good of you, Aima. Are you listening me? Please write yes or no so that I can understand. You are not replying. Okay, very good of you, Alishba. Now all of you are welcome for the new lecture. Today I am going to deliver another English language lecture. Okay, it is lecture number 44 and I have covered some of the language topics here in this lecture. So I want to now start my lecture because I have waited for 5 minutes now. The first topic which we are doing today, it is prefix and suffix. Okay. Now I want to define it first. A prefix is an affix. Affix is simply known as word, which is placed before the stem of a word, or you can simply say that before a word. Adding it to the beginning of one word changes it to another. I have already told you that prefix is a word which is used or which is placed before a word to make another new word which has some other meaning, or it makes a new word. Okay. Now there is an explanation of prefix. A prefix is a pair or group of alphabets which are added at the beginning of a word to add something to the meaning of a word. Now listen to me very, very carefully. That it is a pair or group of alphabets. It means sometimes we add only two alphabets, sometimes more than two alphabets are added at the beginning of a word to add something to the meaning of a word. It means something more has been added in the meaning of the word. Some examples I have given here, like the actual word is try. When we add re before it, it becomes retry. That means try again. Here you can see that another word, that is the actual word, is group, and when I added re before that, it becomes regroup. So re is a prefix in both the examples. There are some more examples, like here you can see that the word, actual word, is spelled, and when I added a prefix miss here, it becomes misspell. Now there is another word which is trust, and actual word is trust, and the prefix is miss here. When I added the prefix miss, then it becomes mistrust. Now I come to Another explanation or another detail about the prefix, that a prefix can also be used to form the opposite of the word. Opposite, you all know the meaning, that is antonym, that is totally different meaning. Okay, some examples are here. Join is the actual word and the prefix is here is dis. When I added here, it means disjoin. Disjoin means not join. Do not join. Join means to add, or disjoin means not to join or not to add. Similarly, the other word here is allow, and I have added this as a prefix here, so it becomes disallow. That is the totally different meaning, not allowed. Similarly, here you can see that another word is tidy, clean, that when we added un here as a prefix, it becomes untidy. That means not clean. Here you can see another word that is clear, and when I added un here, it becomes unclear. Okay, you can see that prefix can be added to make the antonym or opposite of the word also. So you should remember all these prefixes so that you can make the new word or the opposite of the some words. Now, the other topic is here which I want to explain, suffix. Prefix and suffix are both the opposite things actually. A suffix is an affix word. Affix means simply word which is placed after the stem of a word. This is just opposite. Prefix is added before the word and suffix is added after the word. Adding it to the end of one word changes it into the derivative, a word formed from another word. It means when we add the suffix in any word, then it becomes another word, which is also called the derivative of that word. Now explanation is here. A suffix is a pair. Pair means two alphabets, or group of alphabets means two, more than two alphabets, which are added at the end of a word to add something to the meaning of a word. Okay, remember that whenever the new word has been formed in prefix and suffix by their addition, then it should have certain meaning. Some examples are here. Agree, you know that the actual word is agree, and I have added a suffix ment here. So it becomes agreement. Like another word is here, postpone. So the suffix here is ment. When I have added it, it becomes postponement. Next word is willing. Willing is the actual word. When I have added ness here, it becomes willingness. Another example is frank. When I added ness here, that is a suffix, it becomes frankness. Here you can see in this example, the last one which I have written in the last line, arrive. It is a word, actual word. When I have added ul here, ul is the suffix, then it becomes arrival. You can see that here I have changed the spelling also. I have removed this e and I have added al. So it becomes arrival. That is another suffix which I have added here. Now there is another example in which you can see that profession, I have added the suffix l, but there is no change in the spelling and it becomes professional. So sometimes there must be a change of the spelling. So you should be very careful when you are adding a suffix. Hope you are understanding very clearly. Now there is another topic, synonyms, which you have done many times before. The definition is here. A synonym is a word or a phrase that means almost or nearly the same as another word or a phrase in the same language. It means synonym can be used in the same language, and synonyms are the words which are similar in the meaning. Okay, so you should remember that the word which is a synonym of another word, it is having the similar meaning. Some examples I have written here. Close, shut, both are having the same meanings. Thin, slim, help, assist. Assist also means to help somebody. Miniature, The synonym is tiny. You can see that both the words give the meaning of very small things. Difficult, hard, vacant, empty. All of the synonyms have shown you that they have got the similar meanings. Now I come to another topic, which is since and for. You have already uh, known that since and for are actually the prepositions, and I know that you know what are prepositions, which shows the relation between a noun and a pronoun and some other word in a sentence. It is actually a part of speech. Since and for both are telling us about the time of action of during a process or during a sentence. In a sentence it has been given by showing the time, but their use is different. Now I want to explain some of the uses or where since can be used. Since give the starting point of actions, events or states continuing until the present. It means since is used to show the starting point of any action, a starting point of any verb. You know that action means verbs, okay? So whenever a verb is given in a sentence, you should find out that whether the starting point is given or not. The starting point of time of actions uh, where they are given, since is used before that, and these actions will be continued until the present. It means there no end point of the actions has been given in the sentence. That means since refers to when things began in the past and is unfinished. It means the actions started in the past and they remain unfinished. It means no ending point has been given or has been mentioned in the statement. Since is used when specifying the starting point of time. Okay, you should know that this point is starting point of time of an action. Since is used to mention the starting point of a period of time. Okay, whatever time has been given about any action, there should be a starting point given for using the since. Since can only be used with the perfect tenses. Most of the times it is used in perfect tenses, okay, or perfect continuous tenses. Now some examples I have shown here so that you can understand more. You can see that I have known him since January. It means from January. It is the starting point which is given here, and no end point or no ending point has been given. It means that we are using since here. Now in the next example, you can again see that I have lived in this house since 2005. That is the beginning point of the action of living in the house has been given here. So I have used since before it. Again, you can see that these two sentences are the perfect tenses, that is present perfect tense. Now I have given some examples of present perfect continuous tenses here. I have been waiting here since 7 o'clock. Again, you see that that is the beginning point or the starting point of the action has been mentioned here. So I have used since here. Next example is, it has been 3 years since the last earthquake. Now this 3 year is not the time of action. Now here the time of action is given here, that is the starting point. Okay, so I have used since here. Now again you can see that I have given another example of past perfect continuous tense. The children had been playing cricket since morning. That means that is morning is showing the starting point of the action or the play when the play has started. So I have used since here. I hope you are understanding. Now I come to the second part of the topic, that is use of for. There is a difference between the use of since and for. I have already told you that since is used to mention the starting point of the action, and for refers how long something lasts. It means it tells us about the time duration, or you can say that The starting point as well as the ending point of the action has been mentioned in the sentence. For is used when time duration is measured. It means the whole time duration has been given. For is used when specifying the amount of time. Amount also means the same thing, the duration or how long the action lasts, for how long it continues and lasts. For is used to mention a specific period or the duration of time. Duration means the starting point and the ending point both are given, okay, with the same, and it has been shown by the same word. For can be used with all tenses. I have told you that since can has been used mostly for perfect tenses and perfect continuous tenses, but for can be used for all types of tenses. Now I have given some of the examples here. These examples are shown for the use of for. Now see there, I have used different tenses here. I have known them for a long time. Now, long time shows the duration of time. That means the starting point and ending point both are here in that word, the long time. So I have used for here. You can see that it is present perfect tense. Now, the second sentence is I have used the past indefinite tense. You can see that. So that you can make the sentences, or you can understand that different tenses can be used for uh, here for in which the use of for is mentioned here. I lived here for 10 years. 10 years, you can see that it is the whole duration of time. So I have used for here. They are exercising for 3 hours. Again, you can see that I have used present continuous tense here. So, and 3 hours, that is the time duration has been mentioned. So I have used for here. He has been smoking for a few weeks. Again, you can see that it is present perfect continuous tense, and few weeks is showing the time duration. That means the starting point as well as the ending point. So I have used for here. Now, another example of past perfect continuous tenses, you can see that we had been working in the office for 6 months. 6 months is showing the time duration. You can understand very well that whenever we are using the time duration, for the time duration we use for, and for the starting point of the time of action we use since. So be careful about using since and for in the sentences. Another topic which I want to continue here, that is degrees of adverbs. You should know that adverb is also a part of speech, and adverbs are actually the words which describes more about the verbs or which qualifies the verbs, as well as sometimes adverbs and adjectives also. So adverbs often tell us how an action was done. It tells us about the action. There are 3 degrees of adverbs: positive, comparative, and superlative. You have done the degrees of adjectives. These are having the same names: positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Adverbs can have irregular degrees also, like the adjectives. So I have given one example here: positive, comparative, and superlative degree. Badly, it is a positive degree of the adverb, and the comparative is worse and worst, superlative degree. Irregular degrees means when the words have been changed for the degrees, like badly cannot be used here in the comparative degree. The word is totally changed, that means worse. Here you can see that superlative degree, it is not like badly or any word came from badly. It is totally changed word which is worst. Some other examples are well, better, best. Like in adjectives, we do some irregular degrees. Similarly, adverbs can also have the irregular degrees. Now, adverbs with one syllable. Adverbs with one syllable usually take ER to form the comparative degree and take EST to form the superlative degree. One syllable means when where we are pronouncing a word, we can pronounce it in one go, and which cannot be divided into two parts. The word cannot be divided into two parts. Like some examples I have given here. I have already told you for the comparative degree we add ER, and for the superlative degree we add EST. And this can be done only for the adverbs with one syllable. Okay, some examples are here. Fast. So I have added ER here to make a comparative degree faster. For superlative degree, I have added EST, fastest. Another example I have given here, it is high. Comparative degree is higher. I have added ER here for comparative degree, and the superlative degree is highest. That means I have added EST for making a superlative degree. Remember that ER and EST are used for the adverbs with one syllable only. Now, adverbs with two or more syllables, that means when the words can be divided into two or three parts, it is called syllables. Now, for these kind of adverbs, adverbs with two or more syllables usually form the comparative degree with more and form the superlative degree with most. Like adjectives, we can do the same thing in adverbs also. Like some examples I have given here, positive, comparative and superlative degrees. Angrily, you can see that angrily is the word which can be divided into two syllables. When we pronounce it like that, angryly. So I have made the comparative degree by added more angrily, then superlative degree by adding most angrily. Similarly, you can see another example. When I pronounce the word, I can divide into two parts, loudly. So when there are two syllable words or more syllable words, then we add more to become the comparative degree, more loudly, and for the superlative degree, most loudly. I hope you are understanding very clearly. Now, another topic which I want to continue here, it is articles. Articles, we have done it before many times. There are two kinds of articles. Basically, there are two kinds. Please remember, most of you are counting them and tell me that there are three kinds of articles. It is the wrong thing. There are only two kinds of articles. Indefinite articles, which are a and an, and definite article, which is the. Remember, please remember these two kinds. Now I want to discuss some of the uses and the examples of articles. Now, first of all, I want to tell you about use of indefinite article, that is a. A is used before a singular noun beginning with a consonant. Okay. Remember this thing, A is used for singular noun because A is used for only one thing. So singular noun beginning with a consonant. I hope you know the consonant, the alphabets or the letters in English alphabets other than the vowels. 21 remaining letters are called consonants. Some examples I have written here. I purchased a new car. You can see that the word after the blank, we see that word or the first letter of that word. It is first alphabet is N. So N is a consonant and the A is used before the consonant and it is used for the singular noun, that is car. Another example is here. We take a glass of milk daily. Again, you can see in the example that G, glass, G is the word which is the first and it is a consonant. So I have used A here. A is used before a singular noun beginning with a vowel which has a consonant sound. There's another use of A. It means it is used before the singular nouns which can begin with a vowel, but when we pronounce it, they give a consonant sound. They are not giving the vowel sound, they are giving the consonant sound. Some examples are here. She studied in a university. You can see that university, the word U is actually a vowel, but it is giving a sound of a consonant, that is Y, Y-O-U. So I have placed here. Another example is E is a European. European, you can see that the word here is E. It is a vowel, but it is giving a sound of Y again. So I have placed here. Now, I want to discuss some of the uses of indefinite article an. Both a and an are indefinite articles. Remember this thing? An is used before a singular noun beginning with a verb. Okay. Now remember this thing that an is also used for a singular noun and it should begin with a vowel, and you should know that there are only 5 vowels in English alphabets: A, E, I, O, U. Other alphabets are called consonants, and before consonants we use A. Some examples I have written here. My friend takes an egg in breakfast. You can see that the word here after the blank, it is egg, and it starts with the E, that is a vowel. So I have placed an here. And you should remember that egg is also a singular noun here. So we have placed an here. Another example is there is an ink pot on the table. You can see that ink pot, the word starts with I, that is a vowel, and it is only a single ink pot, so I have placed an here. There is another use of an. An is used before a singular noun beginning with a consonant which has a vowel sound. You can see that the uses of a and an are just opposite to each other. One is used with a consonant and the other is used with a vowel. And the second use is also opposites to each other, that an is used before a singular noun with a consonant beginning with a consonant. Remember, an is also used with some consonants which has a vowel sound. Some examples I've written here. She is an MA in English. You can see that M is a vowel, M is a consonant, but it is giving a sound of vowel. That is when we are pronouncing M, I can write it in the way AM. So it starts with the A or it is giving the sound of a vowel A. So I have placed an here. There is another example. He is an MSc in chemistry. Again, you can see that MSc, M is a consonant, but it is giving the sound of A, that is AM. So I have placed N here. I hope you are understanding. Now I come to the definite article, use of definite article, that is the. The is used before a proper noun. Remember, it is used before a proper noun. Some examples are here. I read the Daily Dawn. Daily Dawn Now, are you hearing me? Students, please reply. Are you hearing me now? Please reply so that I can hear. Okay. Now I'm repeating this because some of you have not heard me. We were here that we were discussing use of definite article the. The is used before proper nouns. Some examples I have written here. I read the daily dawn. The Mediterranean Sea is sometimes rough. You can see that I have placed the before the proper nouns, and they can be written, they are always written with the capital letters. The is used before superlative degree of adjectives also. Some examples I have written here. I heard the most interesting story. You can see that most interesting is the superlative degree of adjective, which is telling about the story. I have placed the before that. In the second example, the Indus is the largest river of Pakistan. I have placed the before the superlative degree here, largest, and this in the beginning I have placed the before Indus because it is a proper noun. I am telling you that we cannot use articles sometimes in the blanks before them, because sometimes before consonants and before vowels we cannot use articles a and an because they are not in the singular form, they are in the plural form. Sometimes we cannot the in the beginning of the sentence, like if I am writing a sentence, Pakistan is an agricultural country, so Pakistan is a proper noun, but we cannot place the before that. So sometimes it happens. Otherwise, you have to follow the uses of indefinite and definite articles, which I have told you. So please remember all the things and proper nouns, which I want to mention here. The Ida is used before the names of the holy books, the oceans, seas, famous buildings, um, rivers, lakes. You can use the before them. But remember to use a and an before the singular noun, a for before consonants and an before vowels. But they can also be used before, uh, a can also be used before vowels when they give the consonant sound, and can also be used before the consonants when they give the vowel sound. Okay, so this is the end of my topics today. I'm giving you some time. You can ask me anything. Okay, write in the chat box. After that, I will answer you. If you want to ask anything about the topic, about any other thing, about the any of the topic here, then you can ask me. Yes, anyone, if you want to ask anything about today's topics, we have discussed prefixes, suffixes, synonyms, degrees of adverbs, use of since and for, and articles. If you want to ask anything about all of them or any one of them, then you can ask. Okay. I hope you have seen the Google Classroom. We have gone through the Google Classroom and you have seen the schedule for second monthly test. It has been uploaded. So go through the Google Classroom and find out the days for different subjects. Yes, you can read the book as well, Khadija. And I will upload the question answers today and tomorrow. So please read them very carefully or try to learn them so that you will be able to answer the questions. Means if there is an comparative degree, what do you want to ask, Hamad? Your question is incomplete. Alishba, please read those questions from the old book as well. But actually, the new book um, is included from the new book. Okay, so you have to read the question answers and learn them from the Google Classroom. I will upload the assignment today. So please go through it. Ahmad, what do you want to ask? Please tell me. Miss, if there is any comparative degree you have not uh, given me correctly, or you have not asked me correctly, I don't understand what you want to ask. So please write your question again. Miss, comparative degree has no. Before comparative degree, we are not using the, but we can use the if two comparative degrees come together. Okay, remember this thing. Before the superlative degree, we always use the, but when two comparative degrees come together, we use the at that time only. Otherwise, we cannot use the. Anything which you want to ask any one of you, please ask me. There is little time left. 2 minutes are left. You can ask me. If you have got any problem, any confusion, please ask me. You have to learn the words meanings from the lesson one. You have done it, and I have you have got the assignment on the Google Classroom as well. So learn the words meanings from there. You want to ask any more thing? I want to repeat it that you have to learn the questions from the Google Classroom. I will upload there today, or just read. You will be able to answer the questions. There is only 1 minute left. If you want to ask any more thing, otherwise I want to stop here. Okay, I want to stop here. We'll meet inshallah next time in the next class. Allah.